Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news, as for the first time we get a real proper official line from INEOS about their unhappiness about the start to the season. This has come from the fan forum. We'll give you the direct words, what they're saying in relation to that, because it might not actually be bad news for Erik ten Hag, as that togetherness comes through again, even though they acknowledge they're not happy. We've also got a few quotes from Mitchell van der Gaag, who was the assistant coach of ten Hag last season, on why he left in the summer, and a story from France talking about Angel Gomes returning to Old Trafford. So we'll get into that. A quick afternoon update. Make sure you smash a like and get your comments in if you're not watching live. As well, Fenerbahce preview, which is what I was excited to do at 2 o'clock, is actually happening at 7. So we've not forgotten, 7 o'clock tonight live before the Champions League games. It's Fenerbahce Manchester United preview, and I look forward to joining you for that. But let's get into the latest news. So this is an article I've read in the Manchester Evening News, and basically there was a fan forum. These fan forums take place, a couple of times a year, I don't know. Basically, there are representatives for you and me who are predominantly, I think, season ticket holders who meet with the club, and they've done it for years, and they have a little chat about stuff and, you know, where the club's heading and etc, etc. So one of the supporters at the fan forum asked, what do the club put the start to the season down to? In the past, John Murtagh would give a debrief around the football side of things. Toby Craig, who joined us in the summer from Chelsea and is the Chief Communications Officer at Old Trafford, responded to that question and admitted that the performances have not been good enough this term. He said, clearly, we are not happy with the team, with the men's first team start to the season, and results are not where we want to be. There is a huge amount of change going on, though. We believe we came out of the summer transfer window with a stronger squad, but it's one that is still evolving with a number of younger players who will keep getting better. So there have been changes on the pitch, but also off the pitch, with Dan Ashworth and Jason Wilcox joining the club. They are transforming our sporting structure off the pitch. We know there's still a lot to do. So look, I think I'm right in saying that that's the first official sort of statement we've had from the hierarchy of the football club around the start to the season. We've certainly not had anything over that 2-week period where we were being told that Ten Hag's going to get the sack. And listening to what's being said there, I don't really see why they couldn't have put that statement out a couple of weeks ago, because I think it would have made the first week of the international break a little bit less intense. Acknowledgement that we're not happy with the start to the season is a good thing for the fans to hear. It's not been a good enough start to the season, and we all know that. But also an acknowledgement that there's been a lot of change, that there's key people coming in that are going to make a lot of big changes. Colette Roach, who works as part of the football club, you might remember her as the lady who used to be next to managers of the past before she moved into a more senior role. She was also talking about how there's been a lot of change in the football club. 250 people have left over the summer as well. That's not an excuse for a bad start to the season, but I also think that the acknowledgement that they think that they've come out of the summer transfer window stronger, but there's a lot of change in the squad. There's a lot of young players, a lot of new players. So, look, that's what's coming out. I think that it's not probably what certain people in the fan base want to hear, but from my own point of view, I think that I want to see more of this. It shouldn't be happening in a fans forum and being reported a week later. I would personally like to see a Dan Ashworth or an Omar Barada as a CEO and a director of football making these types of statements more regularly to the public. It's the Manchester United fans, because this is what you see at Dortmund, this is what you see with Bayern Munich, and it shouldn't have to come out third hand from a fan forum. And I think there's nothing in there that Toby Craig has said as head of communications that couldn't have been said 2 weeks ago by Omar Barada or Dan Ashworth. It's not been a good enough start to the season. And yes, there is a lot of change going on and off the field. And obviously, things need to improve from now. And we saw that at the weekend, and we were talking about this last night. So, look, take it whichever way you want. But I think it's the first time I'm right in saying that we've had an official sort of bit come out of the football club. What does it mean for Erik ten Hag? Well, his job is safe at the moment. He is on thin ice, but his job is safe. And I think that what they're basically saying is, we're not happy with the start to the season, but there are some mitigating circumstances, of which we are all very aware of. Last season, there was a load of mitigating circumstances. But I think this season, what goes in Ten Hag's favour is that this INEOS structure is willing to say it's been a bad start to the season and we're not happy, but we understand elements of it as we are trying to build something new. That won't go on forever, of course, but, you know, interesting. Also, give us your thoughts on that, of course. Anthony says, off topic, Mark, but what was that load of rubbish about Mazraoui having a problem with his heart? Mate, to be honest with you on that one, just before we move on to the next story, I genuinely don't really understand what that was all about. I think that was just a prime example of people getting information from a really good source and then it wasn't a good source. I think, as far as I understand it, he had some sort of, and I might be wrong in thinking this, he had some sort of procedure that hasn't ruled him out for as long as people thought it was going to be. But again, you know, I'm not 100% sure on that, really. Just also, apparently, this is coming in also from Manchester Evening News as well. The expectation is a handful of youngsters from the under-21s will be included in the Man United squad to face Fenerbahce, and some might even make a squad for the first time in their careers. We were talking about Harry Amas potentially being involved in that, weren't we? This is what Mitchell van der Gaag had to say in relation to him leaving Manchester United. Remember, this was Erik ten Hag's right-hand man up until the summer. He left. Renehek and also Ruud van Nistelrooy have come in. Just on that as well, another story came out this morning, I believe it was from The Athletic, talking about how Renehek is the guy that sets the training and the structures and etc. around Manchester United. So I saw this on Saturday at the ground. Ruud does interact with Ten Hag, but Renehek seems to be the more senior of the two from what you see on the touchline, and it appears to be being fed out through some articles this morning. There's nothing wrong with that. There could be a multitude of reasons as to why that's happening. It could be a more split role. People might have different specialities and different roles, but I think Renehek gets misinterpreted and misunderstood and sort of left on the shelf a little bit. He does have a lot to say at Manchester United, and it is a threesome. And you know, Ruud gets a lot of attention because he used to play for the club, but they are working in tandem. But anyway, this is what Mitchell van der Gaag had to say. I'm going to be talking about Angel Gomes because there is a story coming out of France around him as well, which we'll talk about. I'm going to set a poll for that for the live chat as well in a moment, but I don't know why I'm pointing over there. Mitchell van der Gaag, on leaving Manchester United, had this to say. What happened? Well, not very much. My ambition is to become a head coach again after being an assistant at Ajax and then at Manchester United. It's great to be an assistant, but at a certain point, you also have to follow your ambitions again. So again, I think some people maybe expected a bit of drama coming out about that. But look, who knows? Who knows? I've got nothing against Mitchell van der Gaag. He came in that first season where we finished third and we won a Carabao Cup, won the FA Cup in a challenging season. And I think Sir Alex Ferguson was always the master of refreshing his assistant coach and coaches around him. Some of them left to take jobs. Some of them he moved on. And I think that, you know, I think some people are looking for drama. It's nice that there isn't any drama there. Right. Let me talk to you about this Angel Gomes story, because this is coming in from L'Equipe, and they're saying that Manchester United have registered an interest in bringing Angel Gomes back to the club. There are currently no signs of a renewal for Gomes at Lille, meaning he will be free to sign a pre-contract agreement from January. Now, this is very, very relevant. I want to just chuck it in there. Would you sign Gomes? Yes or no? Now, my theory on this is that the last international break, not the one that's just gone, the one before that, there was a lot of hype around this because he played for England. Before that, I was aware of Angel Gomes playing for Lille, but I wasn't aware of, like, we need to bring him back to Manchester United. So we were talking about Eriksen this morning and how he's having a bit of a glow up, but that doesn't mean we need to give him a new contract in the summer. And I would say the same way for Angel Gomes. He's having a little bit of a glow up at the moment. It doesn't mean we need to bring him back to Manchester United. A player like this needs to fit what we want to do. Is he the sort of player that Manchester United need at Manchester United over other positions? And I think he's an interesting profile of player. But on the other hand, do we not already have players that do what he does? And therefore, is it worth bringing him back? And I'm thinking, look, I don't see Angel Gomes as a holding midfielder. If he was, that's quite interesting. I see Angel Gomes as a more creative, box-to-box maybe midfielder, in which case we have got quite a few people who can do that already, or who are meant to be doing that. You've got Mount, you've got Mainu, you've got Bruno. So Gomes on a free transfer is an interesting one, but is it the sort of deal we should be doing? I'm not always the biggest fan of bringing a player back, but I think the profile of Angel Gomes, I don't really see it as bringing Angel Gomes back because I don't really think we did anything with him the first time. I mean, he's only 24, and he's not going to be 25 until the start of next season. So experienced, England international now, played senior football for Lille. As Games CGG says, it might be quite an interesting one for squad depth. And the fact that we're talking about this, I don't think it's speculative. I really don't. You talk about someone like Sesko, you talk about somebody like Alphonso Davies, who has been linked to us again by Plettigol. They're very speculative. I don't see Sesko coming to Man United, even though I think he'll leave Leipzig in the summer. I don't see Alphonso Davies coming to Manchester United, even though he will leave Bayern Munich in the summer. Angel Gomes is more realistic because he's not going to sign a new contract. With all due respect to Lille, it's the worst kept secret in the world. He will not be signing a new contract at Lille because he's a free agent who he's having this glow up at the moment, and there'll be a lot of interest in the Premier League. And he's done his time in France. There is no reason for him to stay on at Lille and do any more time. I mean, he's been there since 2020. That was where he went after Manchester United. So he's been there for 4 years. He's run his contract. So there's no reason for him to renew. And he won't be renewing. And, you know, that's disappointing to Lille, I'm sure, but he won't renew. So he's going to go somewhere. Now, in January, unless he's going to PSG, he can speak to La Liga, he can speak to Serie A, he can speak to Bundesliga, and he can speak to Premier League clubs. And it is now coming up towards November. So this is a very interesting deal for whoever's going to do it because the competition is really going to start now. So when you start seeing stories from L'Équipe in France about Angel Gomes, who plays in France for Lille, I think you have to take note of it. And it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because he's free, Glenn, because he's out of contract. And as Chris says, if it's a free, then I would take him. It's a good replacements for Eriksen. Yeah, and I can see it. I can see it. But you know, it really will depend if Man United want to do it, and it really will depend if Angel Gomes wants to come back. I mean, I remember Angel Gomes coming on for Wayne Rooney, and it was the passing. It was iconic, and we thought it was going to be iconic. I mean, Angel Gomes and Tahith Chong were meant to be, well, potentially were meant to be first teamers for Manchester United. Neither of them made it. Angel Gomes still could do it via Lille, and what I'm trying to say is, do you think he holds any resentment towards Manchester United that would make him not want to come back and maybe go to Spurs or Arsenal or whoever else? And I would hope not, because I don't think Angel Gomes really left under a cloud. Well, certainly not from the fans' point of view. He just left. From it would have been Ollie in charge. I felt that. I think that Angel Gomes needed to go and do what he did, and if he ends up coming back to Manchester United, then why not? But certainly keep an eye on it, because I think he will be playing in the Premier League next season, and it's whether Manchester United fancy a bit of that. And look, my thoughts on this as well is, forget that he played for Man United. It might help us, it might hinder us. You don't know. Maybe having been part of Man United's youth setup, he wants to come back. Maybe he doesn't like the way he was treated and doesn't want to come back. I don't know whether it helps or hinders. It may help more than it hinders, if I'm being honest. But if I said to you, Angel Gomes, the lad who's been doing well for England is out of contract with Lille in the summer, we'd still be talking about it. So I think we need to move past the fact that he's an ex-Man United player, because we'd still be looking at it anyway. We'd still be having this conversation, and we'd still be linked to him because he's 24, he's English, and he's a midfielder. And it's an area of the pitch where, I mean, look, we literally got Christian Eriksen 2 years ago on a free transfer. So homegrown, free transfer, midfielder, 24 years of age. Yeah, it could be an angel delight, says David. Yeah, it could be. Would rather we pay for someone like Chris Rigg, says the Boat. Yeah, and I think it will come back to that, won't it? It will come back to whether Manchester United want to go for Angel Gomes and whether Angel Gomes wants to come to Manchester United. But look, it's going to be very interesting. We were talking about the January transfer window towards the end of the show this morning, and I like this period between November and January, because this is, if you think about the summer transfer window, it's basically start of April to June. And in April, we start thinking about sales and purchases because it's close to the summer. Well, start of November to start of January is the same as April and May to June. So it is going to start, well, it's relevant to start thinking about the players that will be having conversations in January. And he will be having conversations in January, of course. Whether Man United are going to do anything in January, and obviously Gomes wouldn't be coming until the summer, but whether Man United are going to do anything in January, well, this is where we look at INEOS and go, are you any different? So, I want to see us buying a left back. Eriksen is leaving on a free. Also, I can't trust Mount's fitness. I would bring Angel back free and gives us room to spend on a left back, says Ali. And this for me is the comment of the day. This is where I don't look at Angel Gomes and go, I'd rather get Ederson from Atalanta. I don't look at Angel Gomes and go, I'd rather spend £40 million on a good left back. I look at Angel Gomes and go, well, I'd get Ederson, I'd get a £40 million left back, and I'd get him because he's free. For me, this is the sort of deal that Christian Eriksen was. This is the sort of deal that a free transfer is. It's a free transfer. You're going to pay a bit of wages, you're going to pay a bit of a signing on fee, but that's the sort of player that you maybe do move Eriksen out, you move Angel Gomes in, and, you know, is Angel Gomes going to be on 150k a week? I very much doubt it. So, look, definitely one to monitor because it makes a lot of sense, and we do need to boost our homegrown. The question ultimately, though, is Angel Gomes? Well, no, it's not. How good is Angel Gomes? That's the question. And that's something that Man United will have to answer. Look at Real Madrid. They sign players on a free. We never do, says Kazim. Eriksen was a no-brainer because he was proven, says Red Olsen. And can we buy that hoodie? It's fire, says Marcus. Yes, the link's in the... I think we've pinned it somewhere on the thing, but United Stand Shopify on Google, you'll find that. Is Angel Gomes a bit injury prone, says Alec? I don't know. Get Gomes, bring back Alvaro Fernandez, and then get Ederson as well, says Greg. Well, remember, we can bring can we bring Alvaro Fernandez back for less than 15 million quid or something like that? Eriksen 1 year deal or Gomes free on 70k a week? You know what? Angel Gomes, definitely. It's obvious, isn't it? And what's the deal with the breaking news thumbnail, Mark? It's going to change as soon as I've ended the show. Basically, one of our producers is flying to Turkey and the other one is off today. So basically, I was doing the show. I didn't have a thumbnail, so I used the breaking news one, so it will change. If you watched it live, you'll be one of the few that actually saw that was the thumbnail we used for the show at the start. Free. It's our holding thumbnail, really. If I haven't got an editor to do me a thumbnail, I'll use that one. There you go. Tricks of the trade. Depends how much he would want. I can see the board offering him 180k a week. Well, that's where it would get stupid, though, isn't it? And you would need to avoid that because that can happen when you're available on a free transfer and you're getting a phone call from PSG and you're getting a phone call from Bayern Munich and you're getting a phone call from AC Milan and you're getting a phone call from Chelsea and Man United. That's where Angel Gomes drops into a very good position, and you'd have to take that into account as well. Man United would have to say, look, this is a fair wage. we want you to come back to Manchester United. Do you want to come? If Angel Gomes says, thanks for the offer, I'm going to go and speak to Chelsea. Oh yeah, Chelsea are going to give me 130 grand a week. You're only going to give me 80 grand a week. So do you want to go up? And at that point, Man United probably say, so you're not that interested in coming back to the club then, are you? Yeah, we're not just going to, we're not buying players that are just playing clubs off for a massive wage, and you walk away. But on the other hand, if he says, look, I'm happy to do 100k a week, and I want to come back to Manchester, then that's when you look at it, isn't it? And we don't know that. Thuto says, hopefully the emotional attachment to United will play a role. He's got to want to come and play for Man United as well. Any player's got to want to come and play for Man United, and any player that we sign has got to be hungry as well. Ericsson 1-year deal or Gomes free on 70k a week, says Akil. Yeah, we've done that one, haven't we, as well? I wish United had bought off Amrabat. He plays against us this week, says David. Well, we'll be talking about Amrabat. We'll be talking about Fred, and we'll be talking about Mourinho in the preview that I was meant to do now, that I'm actually doing at 7 o'clock. So I'm very revved up and ready to go for that. I've got my starting 11 ready, and I've got loads of stuff to talk about, because not a lot of people know about Fenerbahce, the Turkish league, and what's been going on there, and how good they actually will be against us. Thanks everyone for watching. Quick show, but thanks for tuning in. Get your comments in below. What your thoughts about Gomes, of course. And I will speak to you live at 7 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock tonight because it's Champions League live at 8. Take care, stay safe, and I'll speak to you all in a bit. Thanks for joining me. If you got the chance, get your comments in. If you didn't, get to tune in live.